New World Lagrange equation.
More information. Zimmerman Joseph would not do publication on the internet address. Abstract. I present a speculative cosmological model in which the origin of the universe is triggered by field-carrying filtered information arriving via a wormhole rather than by direct energy input. The underlying system is a metastable, dynamically bound quantum vacuum in which positive and negative energy density fluctuations globally compensate each other, resulting in macroscopic stability.
The external information triggered through a protection mechanism forces the configuration space of the vacuum into a single attractor direction, leading to the current of the universe.
In the Lagrangian formalism, the effect appears as a new interaction term that chooses a deterministic trajectory in the phase-space system without changing the overall energy balance. Introduction. According to the standard cosmological model, the early state of the universe was characterized by high energy vacuum fluctuations and rapid inflations. In contrast, here, I assume that the quantum vacuum was initially in a metastable self-equilibrium state that ensures macroscopic stability. Entities such as a photon or a spiron, or perhaps a hypothetical entity, arrived via a wormhole, bringing with it a filtered encoded piece of information.
This information carried not energy, but a directed configurational pattern that through a projection operator pushed the vacuum toward the state of the universe today.
Static representation of the beginning.
The philosophical scientific interpretation of the quantum vacuum and the cosmic beginning, the question of the origin of the universe, belongs to both science and philosophy. Traditional physical theories, quantum fluctuation, big symmetry breaking, or the Big Bang describe the beginning in mathematical language, but leave open the question of why and how. The model here is a speculative but consistent thought experiment in which the state space of the quantum vacuum and an external trigger play a central role.
First block is the vacuum state. The quantum vacuum is not an empty space, but a field full of potential where a multitude of vibrations, fluctuations, and possibilities lie. Its space can be understood as the fabric of pre-universe existence, in which all possible laws, forms, and energy patterns are potentially present but still undifferentiated.
Second block is the external trigger in wormhole formation. The second step of the block diagram shows that an external trigger, for example, a photon or fundamental energy carrier vibration, can trigger a wormhole-like impulse. Philosophically, this trigger can be understood as the first blow or reminder that disrupts the perfect balance of the vacuum. This disruption opens the gateway where the state of the quantum vacuum locally assumes a new configuration.
Third block is the information trigger and the primordial law state. The effect emerging from the wormhole appears as an information trigger. This forces quantum vacuum to assume a primordial law state. In this state, the laws are not yet separated. Electromagnetism, gravity, the strong and weak actions form a single unified field. The primordial law here is therefore not a specific physical rule, but an ideal undivided state of the root of possibles. Fourth block is the birth of the universe. The dynamics of the primordial law state are unstable and have an intrinsic necessity to gradually decay. This creates symmetry violations and new state changes that ultimately dictate the physical laws known today.
The last stage of the block diagram is therefore the universe itself, in which laws, particles, and galaxies exist in an organized structure. The diagram is a philosophical interpretation. This line of thought is not a physical model, but also an ontological framework.
The quantum vacuum can be understood as per-existence, the trigger as the necessary initiator of change, the worm as the gateway to transition, the state of primordial laws as the root of order, and finally, the universe as the unfolding of order. From this point of view, the universe did not come into being by chance. but as the result of a continuous causal and informational chain where the beginning is actually a potential activated by a trigger.
The Lagrange equation is shown below the tile.
The first two terms in the square brackets of the equation are the mathematical expression of the state space of the quantum vacuum. The usual scalar field, the term kinetic and potential energy in general space time, its ground state, and the relationship of the potentials inherent in it. This is classical field dynamics, the fundamental vibration of the vacuum in philosophical reading. Every existence carries its own potential from which it can develop. The vacuum is not nothing, but a space of hidden possibilities. The trigger effect and throat opening, the third term of the brace, is the term introduces an external effect on the quantum vacuum, which is space-time dependent omega, connected to an extra field psi. This corresponds to the trigger, a photon, or an external information stimulus. The term lambda, omega, and theta carry a structure, some external space omega, and an interlogical condition. Theta and psi together create the possibility for something new to break out of the system. Wormhole and its momentum is a topological leap. The churn, Simon's term, is a topological connection. The electromagnetic-like field and the scalar field together create a directed one-time breakthrough. On the philosophical level, this is where the idea of a wormhole or breakthrough appears. A sudden structural change of reality, dictated not by continuous dynamics, but by topology. This symbol is the moment of beginning, when an external trigger pushes the vacuum into a different.
State of primordial laws forcing to a primordial law. The part taken out of the equation is a kind of polarizing constraint. If the field leaves the initial range, it receives a logarithmically strong reaction. Philosophical reading, the beginning is not chosen but is directed towards a basic state primordial law. This says, the universe did not become what it is by chance, but certain logico-mathematical laws redirect departure to a specific starting point. This is the term of the equation I, the impulse which initiates the transition.
The term is a localized impulse in time, as if or vibration initiates the transition and shows that the vacuum phi field dynamically breaks away from the wormhole Sathoric configuration and stabilizes at a new value.
Describes the transition from the primordial law to the universe of concrete physical laws. Philosophically, this spark, the moment when the potential opportunity is realized and gives a temporal event that opens the throat gate. The extent of order, the structure of the unfolding universe, the additional interaction term, which describes the external effects and the final ordered form. This is the lover effect. The unfolding laws color the basic field, and thus the system of laws known today is formed. Philosophically, after the initial act is born, which then determines the further fate of the world. Philosophical scientific reading. This equation is therefore not merely a physical formalism, but a symbolic map that connects
the vibrations of the quantum vacuum and
the external trigger. The wormhole momentum tensor topological term.
the original law-constrained logarithmic term.
Then the stabilization and the collapse of the universe terms. Thus the full Lagrangian density is a mathematical mapping of the process described in the figure.